Hey everybody, welcome back to the shop. Today I want to talk to you about this thing right here. This is my circular saw cutting guide. I use this with a piece of styrofoam, either in the back of my pickup or down here in the shop to break down sheet goods. And you may ask, why would I need a circular saw cutting guide when I'm sitting here at a table saw? And I'm going to be honest guys, there's several reasons for that. First and foremost, this shop is in a basement. And it's a pain in the butt to lug a full sheet of plywood down here. I'm no spring chicken anymore, and you know, I just don't have any need to lug full sheets. And I designed this shop this way. This is small down here. I only have 6.5 feet to roughly where the blade is from that back wall. Meaning, I couldn't get a full sheet to this saw without moving it, which I have no intentions of doing. I'm not going to bring a full sheet down here, so I break them down up in the back of my truck, if I have to. I'll be honest, a little secret you may not know, the big box stores will make a cut for you for free on your sheet goods. Now I know you can't always know where your cut's going to be when you buy it. I'm lucky. I have literally 4 big box stores within 10 miles of me, so I don't have to store sheet goods. I can go get them, let them store them, and I usually know one cut on that sheet that I'm going to get when I go there. So I try to always have them make a cut. Now, they don't always have somebody there to do it, and the saw could be broken. So you may have to bring a full sheet home. When I do, I have this foam core here, or foam styrofoam. It's R5 insulation basically. I bought a full sheet of it. It's not cheap. It's $20-something for an 8x4 sheet. I have most of it up in my shed, and I actually use it in the back of my pickup truck. So if I have to buy a full sheet of sheet goods, I put it on top of the foam right in my truck, and I break it down right there on the tailgate. At that point, I can bring them down here, and if I have to break them down more down here, I have this piece down here that I can use in the shop to bring something down to size. Now another thing you may need to know, another reason to use a tool like this would be a cut like this right here. I am about to build some cabinets down here in the shop, and I'm going to make them out of MDF. This is a 1/2 inch sheet of MDF that got water damage down here because my shop leaks. And the first cut wants me to take 5.5 inches off of the end for, you know, the side to be 5.5 inches. My rip fence goes to here. I can't get a 5.5 inch cut that way, so I would have to make the cut like this. 5.5 right there. What do you know about this cut? This is a sketchy cut. I don't like making cuts where the offcut is between the blade and the fence. So this is another time when I would make this cut with the circular saw jig. So let me show you how to make it, and then I'll show you how to use it. And in the next video, I'm going to make this cabinet, and I'll be using it in that as well. So let's get to it. Okay guys, to make this, it's pretty simple. We need a substrate, a base. I have a piece of hardboard here. It is, you know, it's 1/4 inch, whatever. Hardboard and something sheet good style. This could be plywood, MDF, whatever you want for the fence. Obviously they're both 4 foot long and both have a factory edge on them, so that'll make it easier to make them. We need a few measurements off of our saw, and it has to be the saw you're going to use for this because every saw is a little different, and I'll show you in a minute that we're actually going to cut a piece off of this after we glue it up that's going to end up making it the perfect size for this saw. So what we want to do is decide which base plate side we're going to use. Now this base plate side has less than 1 inch to it, so I don't really want to be referencing just 1 inch on the fence like this. So I need to reference this side. So I need to measure from my blade. I'm going to take the battery out, makes sense. I'm going to measure from the blade to this side of the base plate here. And I have 4 inches. So I'm going to remember 4 inches we need to remember 3 measurements here. I'm going to actually write these down because I don't remember anything worth a darn. For the other side, I want to have 2 inches left over for clamping. So I'm going to say +2. And then we need to know how wide we want our fence to be. And that fence can be variable, but you want to make sure that your fence is wide enough to cover whatever motor or battery you have on this side, because you're going to be referencing the fence on this side like that. So you don't want the fence to be this short so your clamps get in the way. So this measurement is really from the base plate to the end of the battery for this one. If it's a corded saw, the end of your motor. And it's only, it's really for me only 2.5 inches. So I'm going to say 3 inches. So we have 9 inches that we need to make our bottom. I'm going to make our bottom 10 inches so that we have a little bit extra to cut off. We'll have 2 inches to the left. We're going to have a 3-inch fence and the proper 4 inches when we're done on the left side. This will make sense when I make these cuts. So the first thing we want to do is run a rip on this hardboard at 10 inches. So let me set that up and I'll get that going. Alright everybody, for this first cut, I actually set the fence to 14 inches. This is a full quarter sheet of hardboard, so it's 24 inches wide. 14 inches here gives me the fall off side at 10 inches is what we need. So let's make this cut. Here are the 2 parts for our guide. I want the factory edge to be at, what did we say, 4 inches? 4, so I'm going to make it a little over 4. I'm going to make this side 2. And whatever's left over here, which is a little over 4, is fine. That will be what we cut off. So we're going to be cutting off about this much of this when we make our first cut. Alright guys, it's actually been over a week since I glued this thing up. I have been on vacation playing golf. I am back, so let's get this thing out of the clamps over on the bench and let me show you how to use it. Now to make this first cut, this is the first cut, what we're going to be doing is taking off about 5/8 of an inch of hardboard here. So what I've done is I've set the saw at a very thin cut. You can see it's set literally to just take a little over the 1/4 inch that this hardboard is. We're going to run it against the fence and it's going to true this so that the next cut we make, the hardboard will be right at the line where the cut will be because the saw kerf is going to leave that perfect line. So this first cut is to make the saw guide the perfect size. So this actually completes the build of the circular saw guide. So let's run this cut. Alright guys, to make this cut, I'm going to be out of the frame here, which I know will be fine with you all, but you'll be able to see the saw and me in action here. So the way you do this, first you have to make your marks. The marks are what we line the guide up on. I'm going to take 1 inch off of this piece of plywood that I have on the phone. So I'm just going to take my square here and set me up 1 inch to the end on both sides. That's good. And now you take your guide and you set it to the lines. Now this is where you have to pay attention. If your offcut is waste, you can put your guide right on the line because then you've measured to your good side on the keeper side. If your offcut is your keeper, you have to make room for the kerf of the blade. The blade of my saw is, I believe, 3/32. So if I wanted an inch off of this to keep an inch, I would need an inch plus 3/32. Just keep that in mind when you're making your cut. You want to make room for the kerf if your keeper is on the offcut. If your keeper is on this side, bring it right to the line. I'm just squaring this piece of plywood up, so I'm going to take the inch right to the line. And then I take my clamp to the clamp strip we have over here. And I am actually clamping this all the way down to the edge of my table as well, which is actually the table saw, so that nothing moves. And then on the other side, I go right to my line, and on this side I just put it on the board itself. And what that'll do is it will keep my foam from sliding as I'm moving. And now we just take our saw, get it to the fence, make our cut. I want to show you this cut a little bit closer. As you can see, it's a pretty good cut. I would say if you really are careful, you could go right to your project build with this cut if you didn't have a table saw. How I use this is I would now take this to the table saw and bring it down to my final dimensions. Meaning when I'm marking and putting my guide down, I would add 1/8 of an inch so that I had something to cut off. But this, honestly, I'm running my finger over it and I'm not even getting a sliver. This is actually a very good cut. So that's how you use this thing, guys. I hope you liked this video. I hope it was helpful. I hope you make one. Save your back from lugging sheet goods around. If you did like it, go ahead and hit the like button. As always, please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And have a great day. We'll see you in the next one, which will be that sheet right there and a cabinet on that wall for all of my table saw stuff.